Hoe kunnen we mensen ervan overtuigen dat ze minstens een deel van hun woon-werktraject, dat ze daarop de auto vervangen door alternatieven? Denk door een combi-mobiliteit, waarbij dat we inzetten, 1, op snelheid en comfort als het gaat over die alternatieve vervoersmodi. 2, door te werken aan een verknoping, aan verkeerswisselaars. Eigenlijk grote parkings, waarbij dat je met 1 ticket toegang krijgt tot een bewaakte, veilige parking en ook onmiddellijk kunt aansluiten met datzelfde ticket op het openbare vervoer of op fietsnetwerken. We blijven inzetten op een kwaliteitsvol fietsroutenetwerk, op een performant openbaar vervoer dat meer vraaggestuurd zal moeten werken. We zullen ook verder blijven inzetten op de bereikbaarheid en misschien nog meer dan ooit op de bereikbaarheid via waterwegen. Als het gaat over het economisch traject dat goederen dienen af te leggen, goede overslagmogelijkheden, innovaties in waterbouw en scheepsbouw. Wel, waterwegen kunnen effectief stedelijke mobiliteit ontlasten. Ik zie ook de mobiliteitsambities die VIM voor de toekomst voorop stelt. De regering en VIM hebben hetzelfde Vlaanderen voor ogen en bundelen krachten in concrete projecten.
The important thing that has happened since the time we put the white paper on the table is definitely the uptake of technology and the development of technology. And not only ICT on the grandest scale, but also ICT that comes in this device. Because when we started talking, for example, 10 years ago about traffic information, travel information, nobody was then considering that very soon we will not be looking into some sort of complicated devices in the cars, but that so much will be achievable with a simple thing that we all carry in our pockets. We put 2 extremely ambitious targets with regards to urban environment. One referred to the conventionally fueled cars in cities, which we suggested should be phased out by 2050. And also to have a zero-emission city logistics in major urban areas by 2030. A lot has been said. You've seen a car that drives itself. But I think what is more important, especially from a public policy perspective, is to look not so much at autonomous cars as such, but at connected transportation. And it's very crucial that we look at all the issues that have to be addressed at the same time. It's a question of liability, it's a question of security, it's a question of safety, it's a question of personal data, last but not least. And also it's a question, how are we to prepare the transport system for the day when we will have a mixed traffic in the streets? We'll have cars that are well connected, the cars that are partially connected, and then we'll have standard cars for many years to come. The main word, again, to take from that presentation is the question of connectivity, and not only physical connectivity when we talk about connected vehicles or connected infrastructure, but also connectivity of policies that have to address that topic. That's probably the biggest challenge, that we don't end up focusing on one thing only logistics, only traveler information, only roads or only rail or only public transport, because then we'll never get anywhere.
We don't see any places, or very few, heel weinig, plaatsen waar ik mijn elektrische wagen kan opladen, where I can charge my electric car. And that's something a government, Europe, Flanders, or a city, Brussels or Antwerp, should do for me.
I think there is a market outside. There is a market in the sense that, I mean, there are brilliant guys who have brilliant ideas, things that we personally do not think about. Our role in terms of public authorities is trying to put the enabling conditions for new things to happen.
The time when the government did everything for everyone, I think that's past, certainly in the budgetary framework where we live in today.
I think that our role is also to make sure that the relevant data that may then be used to provide information to end users is there. We have been developing a legislation which will be adopted before the end of this year by the Commission on, again, enabling rules for real-time traffic information.
Mm-hmm. The VIM is an example where projects coming out of the company life, coming out of the company world, are put together with government experience. And that's when you get projects like a water truck, where there's a conference tomorrow. Water truck, where we see for inland shipping network to transport goods. It's new, and it was an idea from a company that was put in reality thanks to the collaboration between the VIM and the government.
Providing information. Information is already there. We have the smartphone in our pockets, and still, the Wetstraat, we've all been there, it's full of cars.
That's where the mobility budget comes in. We today have a system where companies are encouraged to give people a company car. But we should shift, and it's also a mental shift, but we should shift to a mobility budget, where an employee can choose what means of transport he needs in function of the goal of that day. That is all. That's in the Flemish government agreement, but also in the federal one. We really need a mental shift. People are too easy in thinking, let's take the car, it's easy, and they often even don't know that there is an alternative, a good alternative even.